Hi, this is Trevor.
And this is Paul.
And you are listening to the May Contain Action podcast.
Available on Apple, Spotify, and more.
So you're seeking that kind of camaraderie. That's a big decision to make. Like, if you're already in college, right? You're already going to classes. And then you're like, nah, I'm going to go to the military instead.
Yep.
Like, how did your parents take that when you're like, hey, Mom, by the way, basically just signed up?
My dad is the kind of dude, you know, he's pretty free spirited like me. You know, he's like, dude, as long as you're being responsible, you know, because like joining the military, is it scary? You know, obviously, yes. Like no parent really loves the fact that their kid is joining the military, but you know, as long as I'm doing the right thing at heart, my dad supports it no matter what it is. My mom was crushed. Ooh. And then my brother, he's a police officer up here in Indianapolis. He's been a police officer for 13 years now. I don't know how long he was on whenever I joined in, but you know, he's the older brother. You know, he's just giving me advice. You know, he ain't acting like he knows everything, but you know, I feel like he was stoked for me. He was proud of me. But it was definitely hard with telling my mom because she's literally the sweetest person I've ever met in my entire life. You know, she's my mom. She's super old school. Telling her that I was joining the army was rough, but telling her that I had to deploy was real bad.
Oh sure. Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I told my mom that, she would absolutely melt to the floor. Like it would be not good.
I don't think there's a lot of moms that would be super.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, the thing is, dude, like this is what makes my situation even worse was, so I graduated basic and I got sent to my unit at the 101st Airborne. Well, the unit that I went to, they had just got back from pre-deployment training. And usually if you don't go to pre-deployment training, you don't deploy. So when I got to my unit, they're like, You're not deploying, man. Like, you know, we just got back from pre-deployment training. You know, we're sorry, like you're not going. I was like, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and be happy or sad that I'm not going. You know, that's just what it is. Mm-hmm. So I remember we, as a unit, we watched kind of like, not really a documentary, but just like video footage of IEDs, improvised explosive devices, like roadside bombs. Oh. And it freaked a lot of the young soldiers out. Freaked them out real fucking bad. For sure. You know, like these videos, it was, you know, it wasn't Hollywood, it was real deal in the shit, and it freaked them out. So, you know, every couple days there was a new guy that wasn't deploying now for some reason, you know, like, you know, there was reasons why they weren't deploying. And I remember I had just got off of battalion staff duty, and I was on my day off, and I got a phone call from my team leader, and he's like, hey, First Sergeant Jenkins wants to talk to you in his office. Well, dude, you being a new private in the Army, you get told that you need to talk to the first sergeant. That's fucking scary. You know, like usually it's bad. You don't want to talk to the first sergeant. So calls me into his office, and I'll never forget this for as long as I live, man. He looked me in the eyes and he said, PFC Ramey, are you ready to be a part of a real team? Because at the time I was on rear detachment, which is like the unit that's not deploying. You know, and obviously I'm going to say, you know, yes, First Sergeant. He goes, all right, you're going to 3rd Platoon. You deploy in 2 weeks. So then I had to go and tell my mom 2 weeks before I left, hey, they're sending me. Yeah. So that was real bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was rough.
That's wild.
Yep.
So I'm also like, as you're telling this, and I have a couple buddies who've been in the military. I got a buddy who was in the Army, and another one who was in the Air Force. And I recently actually went to visit my buddy in the Air Force who's stationed in Germany. And we're like hanging out, and he's essentially, they've like almost taken over like this village in Germany. Like there's like every house is like some sort of Air Forceman, and they're all hanging out in their backyard and they're talking, and I don't understand a word that they're saying. Like there's none of it actually makes any sense at all. And so I'm wondering, when you join the military, do you just like, do they give you a book? Like a pamphlet to read of like different, like what does any of that mean?
So
like you're like Italian staff work.
I know.
Like, sure. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're like. They're speaking English, but you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
None of it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, they don't give you like a book, but when you're in processing for whatever, you know, Army base that you're at to do your basic training, you start to pick up on it. You know, it's once you hear it a lot, and then you're seeing something happen or like a sequence of events that are happening after they're talking about a certain thing, you kind of pick up on what it is.
I see. Okay.
Just as time goes on, you kind of just pick up on it and stuff like that. But I can relate to what you're saying because I've had friends be like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's definitely a thing. So don't feel like you're alone, bro.
Okay. It's like, what is happening?
It's super funny. So that I'm hearing this it's very similar to so I have a group of friends that I played video. The reason I'm into video because we grew up, and one of my closest friends who lived a couple houses away, his dad built PCs. He was like a mechanic. He just loved building PCs. Like, it was like in early 2000s. And so he had like 5, it was like a LAN center in their house. They had like 1 in the garage and like 4 in the back room. And like, so all the neighborhood kids would come over and play. So there's like 5 of us that would always play. So of the 5 of us, 1 went into the Air Force, 1 went in the Marines, and then 2 went in the Army. And then I went and played professional baseball. So at 18, like all 5 of us just left. We all went to different places. So now when we play games and, they're all out, and because this was like 13 years ago, now when we play games and stuff, they do the same thing, and guys in the Air Force have different stuff and guys in the Army have different stuff, and they're just talking about their experiences. But I realized, obviously I didn't go into the military, but I'm also have a profession where I'm with like a group of 25 dudes for 10 hours every day. Like, we do everything together. We eat 2 meals a day together. But half of us like live with a teammate or whatever. So like, going through the minors, it's like a brotherhood the same way. And so like, I talk about baseball when we like get to talk about baseball games or talking about a team or talking about a guy we play or this thing that happened. People look at me like, what the shit are you saying? What are these random slang words you guys make up? So when I stream baseball video games, I don't even realize I'm doing it, but I'm saying a bunch of weird stuff. And everyone's like, this is awesome. Also, what? So, and I don't like to make the equation that I don't like to do that, but they're always like, yeah, dude, it's just kind of what happens when you got that big group of friends that, in those friendships that are going to last a whole lifetime. You're just always together. Yeah.
I feel like with any profession where you have that bond, that friendship, there are going to be like, different acronyms or slang, like you said, that, only that group of people are going to get. And
sure.
but that, I mean, like you said, like the Air Force uses some shit. Like, I've got some Air Force homies, dude, they'll be talking about shit, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's the same shit, vice versa with the Army. Yeah.
And then you'll hit him with the term that you're like, this is the term we use. He's like, oh yeah, it's like that. It's exactly like that. You're like, oh yeah, I got
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Just like you said, like, you're like, oh, yeah, American Dad. We call everyone dad. And you're like, it's stupid. I say the same thing. Everyone's like, what does that mean? I'm like, it's stupid. It's just like an inside joke. It doesn't, it's actually, I don't know what it means and I can't explain it is what I'm trying to say. It's not from anything. It doesn't mean anything. We just said it all the time. So it like became like part of my identity.
What was the thing you were saying the other day? Like, get in the back or something?
Yeah. So strikeouts, like, so in the bullpen, if a bullpen guy goes in the game and he strikes the first guy out the game of the inning, we all just yell like, sit in the truck. Like, go, like you're telling your son to go sit in the truck. Like, you're his dad now because you just dominated him.
Yo, I don't know why it's so funny, but telling a grown ass man who can definitely beat my ass, telling him to get in the fucking truck, dude.
Sit in the truck. And so like, if you strike the second guy out and then the third guy out, you can then say the entire like sentence. You can say sit in the truck, and then you go get in the back. Like when he goes to get in the front seat, and you're like, no, get in the back. And then he gets in the back. And then if you strike the third guy, you're like, no, you know what? Get in the trunk. And that's it. So you say, sit in the truck, get in the back, get in the trunk.
Most ridiculous.
Now is that like disrespectful? Like, would the other team, if they heard you say that?
Yeah, I mean, they would a little bit, but like every bullpen has like things that they say.
They got their own thing.
Yeah, so like I have a teammate, and I'm gonna call him out because this is hilarious. CJ Crone he's a first baseman. He's our first baseman last year, and he uses the word peace for like every word. So like it could mean literally anything. He was like, "What's up, peace?" It could be your name now. It's your name. You're peace now. And then he's like, "Bro, you putting the peace in the peace?" Like, and then you have like ketchup, and you have a hot dog. You're like, "Oh, he means I'm putting ketchup on a hot dog." Context clues. But like the more you're around him, the more you pick up on what he says really like often. And then a lot, like when he would say he would say words, but he'd only say the first letter. He wouldn't say the whole word. So he's like, someone would be like, oh, hey, it's Talent Training. He's like, I got a headache. He's like, oh, bro, you got an H, bro?
Oh my god!
and we're like, peace, shut up. He goes, yeah, what's wrong with me? And then he'd just walk off. But I would be, if I'm in a room and he's talking, I'm laughing the whole. It's so funny. I don't know why it's so funny.
Yeah.
So he'd walk by me. He'd be like, he'd be hitting. He'd strike out, right? Like, and he'd be going back into the clubhouse. He's like pissed. He's like gonna hit someone with his bat. And I'd be walking by him, and I couldn't help it. I'd be like, "What's up, Peace?" And he'd be like, "What's up, Peace?" And just walk by. And then he'd go back to being mad.
Well, dude,
It's just, if anyone was around us, they're like, "What the hell is happening? What are you guys talking about?"
Every group of friends has that, and
They
you
do,
are
though,
kind
yes.
of that, Trevor. Like you do that a little bit too. Like you'll shorten words all the time.
Oh, exactly. But that's my humor. Like what he does is my like saying like when I win gulags, I say, I just won the gulag. Like that's my thing. Just changing words. I love changing words.
Type on the keyboard. You're like typing on the keyb, or so. I could see you easily saying that, like just shortening a word.
Have you seen the keebs? Actually, I say that to my wife all the time. When I say keebs instead of keys, and I have no idea why. And she thinks it's funny. And I'll sing songs, and I'll just put her name in for like half the words. And she thinks it's the funny. It's so stupid, and it's so fucking funny to us. Funny to nobody. Well, it's also one syllable, so it fits a lot. But yeah. And if it's more than that, you just say Kate several times.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, how did we get to where we are right now?
I don't know. We took some roads.
Yeah.
Down the wormhole.